Hello, welcome to Chapter 1, ACP, U.S. History, AP also. Um, I'm going to give an overview using this online, well it's not online, this one isn't, this is on a CD of the book of the first chapter. And I won't do this for all of them, but we are skimming through this chapter. So New World Beginnings, and it talks, it goes way back to the Ice Age, and we just don't need to go back that far for our purposes. But if you're interested in this, here it is. It talks about possibly Pangea, peopling of the North Americas, of North America, the Ice Age, and the land bridge that I'm hoping that you remember from perhaps 8th grade history. When the Ice Age was here, it created a land bridge, meaning it froze up and they could walk across from Asia to North America. So y'all have seen the, what is it? The movie with the mammoth and the tiger, and they don't eat the sloth for some reason. And they all, that's the time period it's talking about. So they crossed, the people that originally populated North and South America are from Asia. And they can tell this from dental records that are the same here, all the way down. Doesn't show here, it does in our current book. These are slightly different books, by the way. They came from Asia. So that's just pretty interesting stuff. But nothing you're going to be tested over, and that's what we want to know. And then it goes on to talk about the early Americans and the different very civilized groups that they had. Map here, slightly different than the one in your book. Page numbers are not the same also, but we get the same idea. Going on. Now here's where I'm going to go to my other notes, and this is in your book on, again, this says page 10 in this book, and it's on 11 in your book, indirect discoverers of the New World. And that means just accidental discoverers, which Columbus was not. So yes, in Europeans enter Africa, there was obvious, here's Europe. I'm going to go with the fact you all know your 7 continents. Europe is not a country. Confuses a lot of people. It's okay, they don't all have a British accent, but Europe and Africa had constant exploration. This was the known world to Europe, and like it or not, Europe was the center of trade and commerce and who ruled the roost. So they had trade down the coast of Africa. They traded going across land in Asia. And so that was the known world. And here are just some other trade routes. Very dangerous overland. There were the Crusades who went to the Holy Lands and to try and convert the Muslims to Christianity. Then comes Columbus. And now I'm going into my other notes. The early explorers were kind of accidental, or like it said, indirect. So you had the Vikings. I don't know if you've ever heard of Leif Erikson, was one of the Vikings. There he is, Leif, or his dad, Eric the Red. And they know that they came to Greenland, which is really white, covered in snow, and they've excavated different places. Here's the trip that they took, a Viking settlement. They believe that on Easter Island, which is off the coast in South America, there were evidence of African explorers because these statues that are there have African features. So Columbus was not the first. He was just the first to matter, meaning his landing in the islands off of the, in the Caribbean were the ones that set in course a cataclysmic change that affected, that we're still feeling today, feeling the ripple effect. So some of this I'll read to you, which is fine. Many events took hold in the Old World to make the Columbus era exploration matter compared to previous exploration attempts. I'll read it if I can. So the Old World was well known, and Portugal ruled it. And this is page 12 in your current book. This made other countries like Spain need to look elsewhere for trade. So Portugal controlled this trade route down the coast of Africa. And so Spain, who is a brand new country with Ferdinand and Isabella, they wanted to also get in on this trade, and they said, okay, well, we want these spices that are over here, so we need to find another way. So Spain became, back a little bit of history here, European history. Spain became a united country in the late 1400 and eliminated the Muslim Moors, is what they were referred to back in the day, and wanted power and wealth of the Indies, what we know as Asia, the India, but that whole area. So they wanted to go there, and this is the country of India today, Asia, just that general area. Columbus knew going west would get him there to the east, if you can imagine I'm going around the globe, to enrich Spain. Previous explorers had always traveled east to get east. Everybody follow my little, I think it's a circle. This makes sense. Maybe not. So here it is. Portugal had this controlled. Spain needed to go this way. Europeans desperately wanted the products of Asia, and Spain was determined to provide them. New technology allowed ships to sail into the western winds, such as the Caravel. You guys know the ships of Columbus, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. The mariner's compass. Here's another video I'd like you to watch. If you can click on it from here. I doubt that's possible. Go for it. But if not, go to YouTube and search John Green, Crash Course in History, the Columbian Exchange. He talks about what I'm talking really fast in a much better technological way. And so the Columbian Exchange was the exchange, I'll go back to read that stuff, of these just endless foods, religions, languages, some not an even exchange, some just wiping out of goods from the old world, we're going to say North America, between the old world and the new world. And there is a page of this in your book, and this is part of your reading. It's on page 16 in your book. And so one of the worst things to come from this were the viruses, such as chickenpox, the common cold virus, there are many of them, influenza, which is not the same as a cold, and you don't catch the flu if you go out without a hat on when it's kind of cold out, but we'll talk about that later. But the worst was smallpox, which killed, they believe, up to 90% of the native population of the New World, and I'm using that incorrectly. Obviously, it was not new. It just was new to Europeans who, again, ruled everything. So, of course, Europeans are to blame on this. And we'll talk more about the foods in a second. Something that's interesting to think about blame, though, the bubonic plague was responsible for killing a third of Europeans during the Dark Ages, and it came from Asia. So, it's just interesting. We don't talk about blaming Asians for the plague. We could debate that endlessly, perhaps bring that up and we could talk about it. But we do blame Europeans for the viruses. I'm sure it's because it was so fast and it was so permanent. You know, Europeans clearly bounced back from the plague. It would kind of come and go in phases and hit different areas and miss others. But all of the poxes and the viruses that came to the Americas, because they had lost all of their immunities, they've been over here 12,000 years, it just wiped them out. Let's see, another map of the exchange. We'll go back and look at that. So I want you to think about the foods and where they are known to be from, Old World or New World, or their history that you may know. Think about our Chinese food that we have here, Mexican food, imagine air quotes around all that I'm saying, Italian food, chocolate, hot chocolate, potatoes. All of these things are from various parts of the world and have elements from both continents in them. For example, chocolate we often associate with Belgian chocolate or Swiss chocolate. Well, that is an a New World food. Hot chocolate had peppers in it. There was no sugar. Sugar's from Asia. Sugar changed the world. Potatoes were a New World food. Go to Ireland, they get a population completely dependent upon them And then when that goes bad and gets the blight, 3 million Irish come to the Americas. And we have a whole huge history of the Irish in America. Or not the Americas, they come to like New York City, Boston, just really an area specific there. Um, Look at all of the food industries in America. You've got the beef industry over here somewhere, cows. Okay, it's on another map. We have the chicken nugget industry. Chickens are all old world. Horses, the cowboy, American West, that's so iconic, but that's an old world animal. Pigs, bacon, my goodness, and all the other meats that we get, those are all old world. Sugarcane. We are the fattest country in the world because of something that is not from here. I could go on and on and on. So please bring this up in class and we'll talk about it. Um, There you go. There it is. None of these are religions. We don't think of them as the Columbian Exchange, but all of Central and South America are Spanish speaking because Spain and Portugal, well, mostly Spain, conquered these areas and took them over and transplanted Catholicism into those areas. So that wasn't an exchange, that was a complete takeover. So we definitely have a difference there. No exchanging of religions going on there. But that's why they are like they are. There's a reason North America is mostly Protestant, so we'll talk about that also. Think of religions, languages where you know them to be from, speaking Spanish, Christianity. Okay, everybody south of the border speaks Spanish. Look at the chart on page 16 on the screen. What role did the Columbian Exchange play in where this food or animal is from today? Number 5, that's also part of your reading, the role of the Spanish conquistadors in America. The Aztecs of Mexico were conquered by Cortez. So, right, if you look at this, all of this is Spanish speaking, Portuguese. Okay, Brazil is a Portugal or was given to Portugal. All the rest of these are Spanish speaking. And there's a reason in our next notes why this completely stops right here in Florida, was controlled by Spain, and then this little sliver of British territory. Don't let the big French part fool ya. So there's a reason that this stops abruptly right here. 1588, the defeat of the Spanish Armada, which is in the next chapter.